Hi there, my friends. Welcome to this spring feel good flow. For this class today, you will need a couple blocks, definitely a strap, a blanket if you like to have that underneath your knees. And that's about it. As always, your body, your practice. If something doesn't feel right for you, back out of the pose, take a modification, take child's pose, do what's right for your body. We will get started down on our backs in a reconstructive pose. Before you come down on your back, though, go ahead and grab your strap and one block and bring them up with you here closer to where you will be laying on your mat, just to save yourself from having to get up and get your props here in a moment. So we'll roll down onto our backs, take that reconstructive pose. So have bent knees. You can bring your feet a little bit wider than hips distance, and then just allow the knees to rest, kind of knock in on one another, making a little tent. Close down your eyes. Start to take some deep breaths. Spring is a time of new beginnings and fresh starts. So in our class today, we are going to make a science of beginnings. Observing how we feel at the beginning of poses, at the beginning of flows, and here at the beginning of our practice. At the beginning of this practice, we'll work to kind of set up the breath. So bring your hands, you can bring them into like a horseshoe. So thumb reaching out and then fingers up, and just cup the sides of your ribs out to each side. And you can let your elbows relax down on the mat. Just kind of cup the sides of your ribs. And on your inhales, work to really fill the lungs and press the ribs out through that filling in all directions. So really feeling those ribs expand into your hands, out to the sides, into the back body, into the front. And then everything just surrendering back in on those exhales. So just stay here with the breath, taking these 360-degree breaths. Inhale in and expanding in all directions. Exhaling it all back in. As we stay here for a few more breath cycles, just note how you feel here at the beginning of class. Making a science here of our state, mental, physical, how you feel after kind of this shift inward and this focus on the breath, maybe feeling a little bit more present. Wherever you are, take one more inhale and exhale, knowing that you can always come back to this breath at any point in class. If you're needing a shift back to the present, if you're needing a break, wherever you are, you can work on breathing full inhales and exhales. You can release your hands down by your sides. You can gently open your eyes, and we'll take the right leg up into our strap. You can keep the left knee bent if you'd like here at the start, since we're just getting warmed up here at the beginning. And we'll start to do some hamstring activation. So just wrap the strap around the right sole of your foot and start to bend and straighten that right leg. Let's do a few of these. You could even, if you'd like, to add a little point at the top. When your right leg gets straight, you can work to kind of point and flex the foot, getting into the calf a little bit more. Just kind of waking up there through the backside of our leg. Once you've done maybe 8 to 10 of these, you can work to just start to straighten that leg and pull the toes back towards the face. This is our reclined big toe to hand or hand to big toe pose. If you'd like to extend that left leg long, you can. And then just stay here and breathe for a couple of breaths. Anywhere is fine for your leg as long as you're working to have it straight. So if having it straight means lowering it slightly, go for that. And just feel that stretch up the whole line of the back of your leg. Last breath here. On your next exhale, you can take both sides of the strap into one hand and then open that leg out to the right. Keep your left hand on top of your left hip if you've got that leg out straight, and work to keep this hip grounding down so we're not rolling with the leg out to the side. See if you can relax through your neck and your shoulders. Allow that adductor to open and stretch. Then inhale it back up to center, and if it would feel good for you and it's okay to cross over midline, you can take that right leg over towards the left a little bit and get an IT band stretch. Just a quick breath here. Bring it back to center, release that strap, hug that right knee in just into a nice little half wind pose, and then take that right knee over to the left into a twist. You can spin onto the outside of your left hip there. Reach that right arm out to the side. And just checking in again with how you feel here at the beginning of class too. Certain areas feel tight. For your mental state, is it kind of hard to stay focused? Are you still thinking about that to-do list or what happened right before your practice? No judgments here, just observations. Just making a science of the beginnings. Go ahead and reach your left arm out long so your arms are out in a T. Take that right arm and start to reach it all the way up overhead towards that left hand, and you can roll onto your belly from here. Keep that right leg reaching out to the right, and we'll come into a half frog. So this right leg is bent out to the side at a 90-degree angle. You can have your chest all the way down on the mat if that would feel better. Or you can work a slight little back bend by taking your arms into Sphinx arms. We're working elbows to come back underneath the shoulders, chest pulling through. You can kind of press down into that inner edge of that right foot to help open up there through the right hip. Keep that transverse abdominis, this hugging in all around here, all around that core, supporting. And then we'll roll back kind of the way we came. So you can lower your chest down, thread that left arm through, come right back into your half wind twist, and then roll back onto your back. Place that right foot down on the mat, lift this left leg up, hook your strap, and start to take those hamstring activations on the left leg. Bending and straightening. Try to keep shoulders, neck, and head, all of that just relaxed down on the mat so we're not reaching up or straining. Maybe start to take those little point and flex. Can feel so good on the front and back there of your shin and calf. Wherever you are, maybe do one more. And then keep that leg lifting up overhead. Maybe extend that right leg long. And then start to pull those left toes back towards your face. Take a couple of breaths. When you're ready, take that strap into one hand and then open that left leg out to the left. Keep that right hip facing up towards the ceiling, keeping it grounded and not rolling with that left leg, allowing the stretch to happen. And then on your next inhale, bring it back up overhead and over towards the right if crossing midline is okay and if this feels good for your knee and your hip. This one can be pretty intense on the IT band. We'll come back to center, release that strap, hug that left knee into the chest, into your half wind twist. Maybe rock the knee side to side a little, and then start to take that left knee over towards the right, come onto the outside of that right hip, take your half wind twist. Work to get shoulder blades down, close to the floor if you can. Reach that right arm out into the T shape, and then take this left arm all the way up overhead like we're drawing a big rainbow up over us until that left hand meets the right. Roll up onto your belly. Arms can just reach out in front. You could take a crocodile on the forearms or work that little back bend here in a sphinx. So isometrically draw those elbows back towards your hips. Let the chest pull through, shoulder blades come towards one another. And breathe. On your next exhale, you can lower that chest down, thread that right arm back through, and roll back over into that half wind twist. and then back up onto your back. Hug both knees in towards your chest, give them a little squeeze, maybe rock your knees and hips around in one direction. And then grab that block. It may have gotten shifted away from you a little. Grab that block that you brought up to the side of your mat. Plant the soles of your feet down about hips distance apart. Try to have your heels maybe a hand's distance from your hips. Take that block and place it in between your thighs. We'll do some gentle bridge lifts here. Lifting the hips up, lowering them down, squeezing into the block at the same time. So press down through the heels, take an inhale. As you tuck your pelvis, lift the hips, keep that belly drawing, navel to spine. And then exhale, lower it back down. Do that a few more times. Each time you come up, keep those thighs squeezing into the block. You'll probably feel a little bit more pelvic floor, lower abdominal engagement. Let's do one more and hold it. And then exhale, lower it all back down. You can remove that block, just place it off to the side. And then however you would like to come up to a tabletop position, if you need to sit up and kind of spin yourself around, you can. If you'd like to take hands behind your thighs, take a few little rock and rolls here. Those can feel good on your spine. And then we'll meet up in tabletop. In your tabletop, have wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And we'll take some thoracic rotations here. So bring your right arm kind of out to the side with the elbow, pointing out, fingertips behind your head. And we'll just take the right elbow towards the left elbow and then open that right elbow up towards the ceiling. Do that a few times, just opening. Last one here, as you come up overhead, reach that arm up, fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then on your exhale, thread that right arm through into a thread the needle. Left arm can reach out in front. Can rest your right temple or cheek down on the mat and just take a couple of breaths. Sit bones reaching high and wide behind you. And then bring that left hand back towards the face, press that palm into the mat. Open that right arm back up one more time and place that right hand down on the mat. Do the same thing on the left side. So bring left elbow out to the side, left fingertips behind the head, and then work to open and close there through the thoracic spine to like the middle of the back, your chest area. Sometimes we can feel super sticky. Next one here, reach that left arm all the way up, extend the hand, and then thread that left arm through for a nice twist and stretch. You can have right fingertips tented or be down on the palm of the hand. Final breath here. Right hand comes back towards the face. Press down into that hand. Open that left arm up. Place that left hand back down on the mat. Walk the hands maybe a hand's distance in front. Curl those toes and then gently lift your hips up into your first downward facing dog. Press down through all of the knuckles on your hand. Imagine that you're almost dialing out, like you're opening the lids of jars with your hands to kind of activate there through the shoulders, but keep pressing down into the mat. Sit bones reach high behind you. That low belly draws in. Maybe start to walk out your heels, lowering one and then the other. And then we'll launch off into some spinal waves. So bend the knees, kind of press the hips back, and then inhale it forward into a high plank. And then as you exhale, you can bend the knees, lift the hips back up, downward facing dog. And just take these movements on your own breath and your own movement here, just exaggerated or as gently as you would like. You could take this from a tabletop also, bring the knees down. You can kind of round up through a cat and then press back through a cow. So just whatever feels good for your body here. Make a science of the beginning. Check in with how you're feeling and what feels best for you. Do one more. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift that right leg, bend the knee, take a couple of hip circles. Just do 2 in each direction. And then lift that right leg up behind you. Start to bring the right knee in towards the nose. Plant that right foot. We'll rise up into high crescent lunge. So we're on the back toes. Right knee is tracking towards that right ankle and bent in front of you. Reach the arms up overhead. Take an inhale and an exhale here. On your next inhale, open the elbows out to the side into like cactus arms. Open the chest and just allow the arms to fall down behind you on your exhale. Inhale, then back up overhead. Take an exhale. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale the arms. Inhale them up in front of you. Do one more inhale, open the chest, exhale the arms behind you. If you'd like to grab and interlace the fingers, you can do that. Open the chest on an inhale, coming into a proud kind of warrior here in our crescent. We can release that. Inhale the arms back up overhead. Start to bend that right knee. Come down onto that left knee. Untuck the toes and we'll come into Anjaneyasana. If you need blocks underneath the hands for this, grab those, have them there for you. Take an inhale, exhale, shift back into your half split, hands on blocks or the mat. We'll straighten the right leg, come onto the heel, toes point up towards the ceiling, get a nice stretch up the back of the right leg as you fold forward over that right leg. Inhale it back forward. Keep the left hand down on the mat or a block. Open that right arm up into a twist here in your Anjaneyasana. One breath here. On your next exhale, release that right hand. Shift the hips back one more time. Anjaneyasana. And then inhale, bring both hands to the inside of that right leg and kind of press the hips out to the right. Walk both hands over towards the outside of the right leg. Press the hips over towards the left. Walk those hands back to the inside and continue walking to the left. We'll shift the left shin, come onto the right foot. We have gate pose legs here. Two options. You can either walk the hands out into a nice little gate puppy stretch by lowering the chest down, or you could try for a little twist here. Keep the right hand down on the mat. Take this left arm, thread it through like we just did in Thread the Needle, and see if you can come onto that left shoulder. Maybe reach that right arm out in front of you. So either that puppy stretch or this Thread the Needle variation. Just take a breath here. If you're in that Thread the Needle, bring that right hand back under the face. Press back up, release the left shoulder. Puppy stretch, press down into those hands, lift the chest, start to walk the hands back towards the torso. From here, cross this right leg, swing it all the way behind you, cross it behind that left leg, come onto the right toes, take a nice little calf stretch here. Maybe rock back and forth. And then we'll shift to face forward here into a balancing tabletop. So walk the hands back towards the front of the mat, spin that shin again. You'll probably be out of alignment on your mat, and that's okay. Keep this right leg lifting long behind you. Cross the right knee behind the left. Realign your hands so you're kind of straight in front of your feet. Take some cat-cows here with this cross leg variation. So inhale, drop the belly, shoulder blades draw towards one another. Exhale, press into that mat, round the spine, tuck the pelvis as best you can here with these cross legs. And then move through that on your own breath. Inhaling through cow, exhaling through cat. Last breath here, noticing how this feels, a little different variation. And then we'll swing this right leg back behind us long again. Press down into those hands, lift this left knee up, knee to nose, shoulder blades spread away from the spine, and then left leg reaches up, three-legged downward facing dog. Bend that knee and take your hip circles. We'll take all of that on the left. And notice here also, before we move on the left side, how that flow felt on the right side, like not knowing where you're going with those beginnings. See if now you know what we'll be doing on the left side makes you feel a little bit more confident. Left leg comes forward. Inhale up into that high crescent lunge. I know certainly when I have a map, like a road map of where I'm going, I feel a little bit more connected to my breath and my movement. That first side sometimes always gives us feelings of like, I don't know where I'm going. And that's all good. It's normal. Take an exhale. On your next inhale, drop those elbows, open the chest, exhale the arms down, swing them down, up. Next inhale, open the chest, exhale hands down, inhale them up overhead. Take one exhale, inhale, open the chest, arms reach behind you. Maybe try that clasp. Work to open the chest, shoulder blades draw back and down. Release the hands, inhale them back up overhead. Exhale, try to lower down onto that back knee. If you need to use your hands, that's all good. Grab blocks if you need them. Shift those hips forward, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Exhale, shift the hips back, hands come to the mat or block. Straighten that front leg. Isometrically draw that left heel back towards the hip. Release there through the upper back, the neck. Inhale it back forward, Anjaneyasana. Right hand stays down, left arm opens up into that twist. You can gaze up at those left fingers. Exhale that left hand down. Shift the hips back one more time, half split. And then on your next inhale, walk hands to the right, to the inside of that left leg. Maybe press the hips out to the left a little. Can kind of feel different attachment points on the hamstring when we do this. Hands come out to the left, hips maybe go to the right. Walk them back to the inside and then continue walking to the right. Shift that shin, left leg stays straight, toes point towards the side of your mat. And here is that puppy stretch variation. So you could reach palms out, lower the chest, or maybe work with that thread the needle. Left hand stays down, right arm would open up and thread through, come onto that right shoulder. And just breathe. Left hand can reach out in front of you. Wherever you are, press down either into that left hand, bring it back to your face, press down into both hands if you're in puppy. Gently lower that chest and release both hands back down onto the mat. Take this left leg, reach it all the way behind the right, come onto the left toes, take that little calf stretch, and then start to walk the hands back towards the front of the mat. As you kind of rotate there on your shin, this left leg reaches behind you and then crosses behind the right knee. Maybe walk the hands over to the right just a little bit and take those cat-cows on this side. See how you feel now that you know where we were going on this side with the flow. Sometimes uncertainty can be scary. We can see this in our yoga practice, not knowing where we're going. It's hard to stay present. Your mind is always kind of thinking about like, well, what's next? What's next? Try to stay with the pose you're in. Last one here. You can realign hands on your mat. Reach this left leg long behind you. We'll press that right knee to nose. Push the mat away. Draw that belly in. Reach that right leg up, three-legged downward facing dog. And then let's bring it right back through. Plant that right foot. Cartwheel up, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Reach your arms out in opposite directions. On your next inhale, flip your front palm, reach your right arm up overhead into your reverse warrior. Left hand slides gently down the back of that left leg. Exhale, extended side angle. Forearm can be on your thigh, hand can be on mat or block. Open your chest, left arm reaches up overhead. And then flow a few times, through that reverse warrior and side angle. Inhaling reverse warrior. Exhaling side angle. Inhaling reverse warrior. Exhale side angle. Stay here in your side angle. Take an inhale. On your next exhale, reach this left arm forward. Place it on the mat or a block next to your right foot. Spin onto those back toes. Take a revolved lunge. Right arm reaches up overhead. Exhale that right hand down next to the right foot. And from here, we'll come into a supported warrior 3. So maybe hip hop that back foot in just a little bit. Grab your blocks if you need them. Place them in front. Or hands can be down on the mat. And then we'll shift the weight forward into this right foot. Ground down through all corners of your feet. Lift this left leg behind you. Hip point pointing down towards the mat. And then long line from the crown of your head through those left toes. Balance challenge here. See if you can rise up into a stork. So lifting that left leg all the way through, up in front of you. Step that foot down if you need to. Keeping a bent knee in front of you into stork. Open that left leg out to the side and let's take a tree pose. So anywhere that is good for you, toes can be down on the mat, anywhere on that right leg that feels good for your Vrksasana. Maybe use the wall for a little help if it's there. If you're placing that left foot on the inside of that right thigh, really press foot into thigh, thigh into foot. Squeeze both outer hips and glute medius muscles. Get strong and steady, maybe grow your branches, and then come back to the beginning here. Come back to that breath. Come back to that foundation. If you fall, come back to the beginning. Reset yourself. Get firm in that right foot. Build your pose from the ground up. Start at the beginning. If you're in your pose, begin with that breath that we did at the start of class, feeling the inhales and the exhales at your center. All right. We can release this left foot and we'll actually take it here to the left side. You can even step off of your mat. Swing this right foot behind the left. Right arm reaches up overhead. Grab that right arm with the left hand around the wrist and just take a nice side stretch there. Step this right foot back onto your mat. Both feet will be a little wider than hips distance and pointing out about 45 degrees. And we'll lower down into Malasana. So bend the knees, lower the hips down. They don't need to come down as far, wherever is comfortable for you. And then from whatever version of Malasana you're in, you can have blocks underneath your sit bones. We'll just do some forward fold lifts. So we'll place hands down on blocks or the mat and just lift the hips up. You can keep bent knees, kind of release up through the shoulders, the neck, the crown of the head, and then bring the hips back down into Malasana. So just do this on your own breath a few times. Opening up through those hips. Think about tailbone reaching down towards the mat, crown of the head reaching up in your Malasana. And then in that forward fold, think about sit bones reaching up towards the ceiling, crown of the head down towards the floor. Kind of moving through the opposites here. Let's just do one more. Once you arrive back down in your Malasana, keep the right foot where it is and just step that left foot back. Come into a high lizard lunge. Hands can be on blocks or the mat. They'll be on the inside of that right foot, and the right foot is a little bit farther over towards the right side of your mat. In your lizard lunge, freedom for movement here. Whatever feels good. Maybe rock back and forth. Maybe come down onto that back knee. You could turn the right toes out slightly and even kind of come onto the outside edge of that right foot. Hips could go side to side. You could come down on forearms. You could put blocks under your forearms. You could maybe bend that back knee and work to reach for the back foot. Just do whatever feels good for you here. Take any wiggles, any movements. Just kind of starting at the beginning, listening to what your body needs. After you've taken some movement, we'll walk the hands back in if you're on forearms. If you're on that back knee, curl the toes, lift the back knee, and then we'll step this right foot back to meet the left in downward facing dog. Maybe walk out the heels. Notice the difference between the two sides of your body. Inhale this left leg up. Exhale, bring knee in towards the nose. Plant that left foot, cartwheel up, Virabhadrasana 2 on the left. Take a breath here, shoulders down away from the ears. Scoop this left hip underneath and press down into the outer edge of the right foot there at the back of the mat. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, float on into side angle. Take this little flow on your own breath. Legs should really stay in the same position. We're just working the torso, the arms. Next time you come into that side angle, stay there. On your exhale, start to reach that right arm all the way forward. Place it down on a block or the mat next to that left foot. Spin onto the right toes. Open this left arm up. Squeeze those inner thighs in towards one another. Revolved lunge. Exhale, left hand comes down. Take a little hop with that back foot if you need to. We're coming to that supported warrior 3. hands on blocks or the mat in front of you. Come forward onto that left foot, really press down through that left foot. Squeeze this right glute maximus to help you lift the right leg off of the floor, and then balance challenge. Or just step that right foot to meet the left and then meet us in a stork. We'll kind of rise up slowly. Once you're in that stork, open that right knee out to the side. Take your tree pose. Anywhere that works for your body. Use something for balance. Stand next to the wall. You could have a chair in front of you. Find that drishti, find that point to focus on that's not moving. Come back to the breath. Deep, full inhales. Full exhales. Coming back to the beginning. One more breath. Release that left foot down, step to the right foot down, step to the right side of your mat. Cross that left foot behind the right. Left arm reaches up overhead. Grab that wrist with your right hand and then take a nice side bend, feeling that all the way up the left side. And then left foot steps back on the mat. We've got those wide feet, toes pointing out. Lower into your malasana. Take a few little hip lifts and lowers here. Let's just do 3 this time. Next time you come back down towards your malasana, step that right foot back, high lizard lunge on the left. And then just explore here. Notice what feels good. Maybe what you did on the other side doesn't feel good on this side, and that's okay too. The two sides of our body can be very different. They can be asymmetrical. That's normal. Just make a science of the beginning of each pose. Checking in through different areas of your body. Checking in with your mind. Are there certain poses that you come into and you're like, I don't like that one. I don't want to do that one. How long are we going to be in this one? Like, where does your mind go as you enter a pose? Make that part of the science, the study of the beginning. Next, inhale, come back onto hands if you were on forearms. Curl those back toes and then lift the knee. Step the left foot back to meet the right in downwards facing dog. And then just come down onto your knees. Bring them wide. Big toes towards one another. Press back into a child's pose. Can release your forehead down onto the mat. Take one breath here. And then lift the head, walk the hands over towards the left, stack the right hand on top of the left, and then lower the chest down, press that right sit bone back towards that right heel, and even work to kind of lower that right armpit down towards the mat. Take 2 breaths here. And then on your next inhale, lift up, walk the hands all the way over towards the right. Stack that left palm on top of the right. Lower the forehead back down. Think left sit bone towards left heel. Think kind of closing the chest up towards the mat and allowing that left armpit to descend down a little bit. On your next inhale, lift the head, walk the hands back out in front, curl those toes, lift the hips, quick little downward facing dog, and then just tiptoe all the way to the front of the mat, feet hips distance apart. You can have bent knees. Take a ragdoll. Grab opposite elbows. You can sway side to side. Exhale and release those hands as you roll all the way up to stand. One vertebrae at a time. We'll have a little balance flow here at the end of class. Shift the weight into your right foot. I should say maybe have your strap handy for the second the second time we do this. The first time we'll all take a little modification. So go around down into that right foot. We'll lift this left knee back up into stork. This is a modification here of our big toe to hands. We're not extending the leg all the way out in front of us. Stay here with this modification, bent knee, and then let's hinge forward here at the hip. Place this left foot behind you. Toes can point out slightly. Feet are hips distance apart like on railroad tracks. And then hinge at the hip here, fold forward into your pyramid. If you'd like blocks under your hands, you can grab those. Just release. Try to maybe bring that right hip back, left hip forward. On your next inhale, half lift. Shift the weight back into that right foot. Move your blocks off to the side if you were using them. Come back forward into that stork. So left knee is in front. And then let's take a twist. So left arm reaches behind you. Right hand can come to the outside of that left knee. Maybe gaze back towards that left thumb. I think if I do it, I'm going to lose it. Oh, there we go. And then we can release down. So we'll try that on the right side, and then the next time we'll do it through one more time with an option to do the full extension there. So this next time, let's do modified again. So press all of your energy, kind of root down into that left foot, lift the right foot up into stork, hold here, belly is drawing in. And then torso comes slightly forward as we kick that right leg back behind us, land in your pyramid. Right toes can point out slightly, hips face the front of the mat. Exhale and fold forward over that front leg. Take a couple of breaths, check in with those hips. On your next inhale, half lift, shift the weight back into this left foot, maybe bend the knee slightly, see if you can rise back up into stork with the right leg. Right arm reaches behind you, left hand comes to the outside of that right knee. Little twist. And then exhale, release that right foot down. Maybe shake out both ankles. Grab your strap if you know you would like that to do big toe to hand or hand to big toe. You can always just stay with the stork option. So make a science at the beginning. What felt good for you in that first round? Do you want to try to take it a little farther? You do you. So let's inhale. Left foot comes up. Either stay here. You could wrap the strap around the left foot, hold onto it in your hands, work to open. You could also take yogi toe lock or outer edge of that left foot. Open up into that big toe to hand to big toe. Try to keep this left shoulder pulling back. And then reach that left leg back and through for your pyramid. Fold forward, come halfway. Option here, you can either take the first version, or if you'd like to revolve, you can place the left hand down on a block or the mat and then open that right arm up. Try to keep those hips square to the front. Exhale, lower it back down. Move that block, shift the weight into that right foot. Left foot comes forward again, either into that twisted stork, or you could use the strap around the sole of the foot, or grab the outer edge of the left foot, try to come into a revolved big toe to hand. This one is tricky. All the wobbles. And exhale, release. Shake out that right ankle. Let's take that on the left. Weight comes in to the left foot. Right leg reaches up. Your version of big toe to hand, whatever that is today, might be different from day to day. I know it for sure is for me. And then reach that right leg back behind you. Fold into your pyramid, or maybe take that revolved variation. Exhale that hand down if you're in the revolved version. Shift the weight back into that left foot. Bring that right leg back up in front. Either twisted stork, use the strap, use your hand. Revolved big toe to hand. One breath. Exhale. Release. Any way that's comfortable, come down onto your seat. So we'll meet on our seat in I'm going to call it a half wide-legged forward fold. So reach that left leg out to the side, bend the right knee, and bring the right sole of the foot to the inside of that left thigh. Think like Janu Sirsasana like a little mixture here between Janu and our wide-legged forward fold. And we'll fold forward over this front bent leg. Just see if you can release a little. Press down, you ground down through those sit bones. You can really round there through the upper back, the neck, release the crown of the head. And then walk the hands back in. As you realign your spine, take a breath, and then bring the left hand to the outside of that right knee. Right fingertips can come behind. Just take a little bit of a twist. Inhale, come back to center, and let's switch sides. Right leg reaches out. The left leg is bent. You can start to walk your hands out in front of you. Ground down through those sit bones. Inhale it back up to center. Neutralize the spine, and then take right hand to the outside of that left knee. Left fingertips can come behind. Really use those obliques to kind of shine that sternum forward and to the left. Instead of using those arms to crank, see if you can do it through active oblique engagement. The movement's all coming through that thoracic spine. Let's inhale it back to center. Bring both legs out in front of you with bent knees. We'll roll down onto your back. Keep the soles of the feet down on the mat and just windshield wiper knees side to side. Left and then right. And then keep the left sole of the foot down. Cross that right ankle over that left knee. Just isometrically without using your hands. Press this right knee out and away from you. Feel a stretch there through that outer left hip. And then if it would feel good, you could hug this left leg in towards the chest, grabbing either behind the thigh or the front of the shin. Maybe roll out that left ankle. We did a lot of balancing. Give your ankle a little love. And then place that left foot back down on the mat. Take both knees over towards the right. You can keep this hook with the right foot over the left knee if that feels good for your knee. If not, just let that foot fall off. And then press into the inner edge of that left foot. Open up, squeeze that left glute, open up the right hip flexor. Just take one quick breath here. Bring it back up to center and switch sides. Right sole of the foot down, left ankle crosses over right knee. First think about left knee out and away, and then hug that right leg in if that felt good. Maybe take those ankle rolls feel very nice after some balance work. Place that right sole of the foot back down. Allow both knees to go towards the left and then squeeze that right glute. See if you can open up there through the front of the right hip. If this isn't working for you, just totally uncross the legs. It might even let you get a little bit further into that hip flexor stretch. Bring it all back up to center. Hug the knees in. And then take both knees over towards the right. Make sure you come onto the outer edge of that right hip and just take an easy supine twist. Left arm reaches up overhead. Open it out to the side. Shimmy those right ribs towards the right to get that left shoulder blade down closer towards the mat. Maybe gaze towards the left thumb. On your next inhale, bring those knees back up to center. Take them over towards the left this time. You can reach that right arm up overhead, open it out. Take that little rib shimmy. Gaze towards the right if that feels good for your neck. And then inhale it back up to center. Hug those knees in one more time. And then release your feet down towards opposite corners of the mat. Lift your chest. Tuck those shoulder blades underneath. Arms can reach out to the sides with your palms just splaying open naturally. Tuck your chin slightly. Get a little bit of length there in the back of your neck. And close down your eyes for Shavasana. Release any control that you have had on your breath during this practice. Now is the time to just be its witness. Check in with all areas of your body. Notice if you're still holding on to tension in any area and see if you can let that go. As we end our class here in Shavasana, I'd like to read a quote from Richie Norton. Every sunset is an opportunity to reset. Every sunrise begins with new eyes. Each time you come to your mat, you have the opportunity for a new beginning. Within your practice, you can always come back to your breath and reset. See if you can take this concept into your day, your week, your life. Maybe this means that how you've reacted in the past doesn't govern how you react today. Or what has been a priority before may not be now. Just remember that every sunrise begins with new eyes. I'll invite you to just stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you would like. Thank you so much for practicing with me.